Welcome to the Legal Yogi Podcast, a space where we explore all things related to wellness, career balance, and mindful living. I'm your host, Venetia, and if you are someone who works in corporate America and is trying to find balance, do all the things, live life, while also climbing the corporate ladder, and you actually enjoy your job, then this is a place for you. I hope you enjoy the discussions we have and the techniques we learn, and just know that we're all on this journey together. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Legal Yogi Podcast. I'm your host, Venetia, and today we are diving right into it, and we're going to talk about stress. You know, it's funny because part of the reason why it took me so long to launch this podcast was because I had so many ideas for episode topics, but I was overwhelmed with where to begin. Should we talk about stress first? Should we talk about my own journey and what qualifies me to lead these discussions? Or should we talk about relationships since this is about the time, I guess the kids used to call this cupping season. Are the kids still calling this cupping season, or did I just date myself? But then my best friend also threw me for a big loop recently when she gave me the suggestion of talking about friendship on the pod because it's a pretty sexy topic right now. I mean, they even have friendship experts on the news because I think we're clearly in need of help in that department. But don't worry, friends. We will definitely put a pin in that topic on friendship, relationships, all that stuff. We're going to come back to that. I even plan to bring on my own best friends so we can have a candid discussion of how and why our 10 plus year friendship has lasted so long. And you all will get to meet. We call ourselves the Quad. We're a group of four. So I know, very creative. So switching gears, an intention I had for these episodes was to begin with what I would like to call a pulse check, where I and maybe eventually our community share something good. I like the idea of the pulse check because whenever you typically ask someone how they're doing, they typically will respond with a single word, and it's often negative. You'll think about this next time you ask someone how they're doing, but they're typically going to respond to you with a single word of like tired, busy, all right, okay. But when you instead say, tell me something good that has happened to you recently, you'll see their faces change in real time. I'm literally starting to smile as I think about my something good to share with you all. I'm recording this episode on Halloween. So, my something good that I'm sharing with you all today is that I'm so excited to put on my epic costume for adult trick or treating in my neighborhood that I planned. Yes, I planned this. We've got candy for the kids, treats for the dogs, and booze for the adults. You're welcome. Take the idea for next year. Bring it to your neighborhoods. Tell them I sent you. This year, I am dressing up as Britney. Yes, that Britney Spears, from her Oops, I Did It Again music video. If you don't remember which one that is, you may be too young for this podcast. Just kidding. But seriously, Google it. I literally got this suit custom made to be the exact one from the video, like the all red leather suit. It's going to be epic. Anyway, that's my something good. So let's talk about stress. I came across this quote that I'm putting in air quotes because it is not really a quote, but I'm going to call it one in order to honor whoever came up with it, since it definitely was not me. But it said, stress is a signal that something needs to change. It is up to you to decide what change that will be. Let's just take a moment here to sit in this one for a second. It's a signal that something needs to change. Stress is a signal that something needs to change. I think my question for you all here is, it is a signal where? Did you know that your body can literally hold stress in certain areas? In the yoga practice, We are often taught that stress manifests in the hips and the upper back. Those are the two main areas, which is where we always end up stretching. Most teachers will stretch those areas just because if you ask a teacher in a class, like, I need help opening up my upper back or I have office body, they're always going to hit those spots. And that's because your stress is carried in your hips and oftentimes your upper back as well. I specifically will always hit those spots in every single class I teach. And it's because one, I'm a little selfish in my classes because I need those too. And two, I know that my demographic, the students who are coming to my classes, almost always are coming to my classes because of my background. They know that I am also a lawyer by day. They've read my bio and they're coming to me because they feel a kinship with me. But stress doesn't just affect the hips, the upper back. So stress affects all systems of the body, including the musculoskeletal system. Let's say that. Say that 3 times. Showing up physically, like we already said, the respiratory system. This can be in the form of maybe hyperventilating or panic attacks. The cardiovascular system, causing increased blood pressure or heart rate. The endocrine system, causing increased production of cortisol, the stress hormone, leading to depression or anything else when you think about what the stress hormone does. Get the gastrointestinal system affecting your gut health. You may notice that whenever you're in a high stress season, you, one, tend to not eat well, which affects your gut health. Two, you may be, the ladies, may be more bloated than usual. That is almost always a sign of stress. The nervous system, triggering your fight or flight response, and the reproductive systems. This can affect menstruation, pregnancy, or even menopause. Causes mood swings. PMS can be enhanced. Sorry to my friends. It also affects your ability to get pregnant. I have a friend who is also an attorney, and I know her job was so stressful at one point that she was having trouble getting pregnant. And this, she had to like slow down. So this is stress can be a real life inhibitor and it can manifest in big ways. So just seeing this list written out made me realize as I was putting my notes together that this will definitely need to be broken out into more episodes. So expect to see expanded episodes based on this first episode. But based on this overarching list of triggers that cause stress, I've come up with 5 tips to help manage stress whenever you feel it starting to come up. And please note, this list is not the end all be all. I came up with the number 5 just to make it easy to remember. So I've come up with 5 tips for managing stress. That's what the episode is called. So we've got our 5 tips here. So tip number 1, focus on the present moment. I'm just going to list all the tips first, and then we're going to go into our discussion. So tip number 2, schedule everything. Tip number 3, move your body. Tip number 4, take breaks. And tip number 5, know your triggers. And I think it's also helpful to mention here that there is room for interpretation for these 5 tips. So, your interpretation of what these tips may mean could be completely different from the way I'm interpreting them. I'm just going to pare this down into the way I use these to manage stress. Tip number 1, focus on the present moment. So, I think the best way to go about this one is just try not to let your entire to do list overwhelm you. I am so guilty of this. I like to keep a running list of everything I have to do. And I am a type A, I am the extreme of extreme type A's the Enneagram ones, the perfectionists. So I've got my Apple calendar, I've got my Outlook calendar, I've got my paper planner, and then I've got a daily to-do list. And then I've also got a sticky to-do list. Like these are little like post-it note to-do lists that I can go through and like check things off. So when I say I'm guilty of this, y'all, I am the queen of this tribe of guilt. I'm so guilty. So whenever I'm in a busy season, I will write down everything that needs to get done and try to cross things off one at a time. Because one thing I love to do is I love to write down a to-do list and I love to cross things off. But the worst thing you can do, and I have realized this in the last year, is write everything you have to do. Because when you see that list, your brain will start to think this is what you have to do in that one day. And that's wrong, like absolutely wrong. This is how you get overwhelmed. And this is when your stress gets even worse. You might start to get heart palpitations. Like you might just stress yourself out even more for no reason. Instead, try to focus on one thing at a time so that you can stay present in that one thing. So if this is a work thing, maybe you have your work list. What I've also started doing is I got my daily to-do list, but started including personal items in that daily to-do list so I can cross things off, get the high of having things checked off my list, but it's not going to be enough to overwhelm me because there's no way that you can draft 3 contracts in one day plus handle a closing. There's no way. There's no way. We're not super people. So what I've done instead, if I know I am revising a lease, for example, if I'm revising one lease that day and it's going to take me a few hours, I've got that one lease. I've got maybe one little action item that can be done quickly. I've got maybe one other administrative item. In my case, submitting reimbursements because my secretary knows don't ever send those things on out in time. So that. Then I'll add maybe one of my personal items. I've got 3 loads of laundry that are staring at me right now. So maybe put one of those loads of laundry in because it takes 2 seconds to put a load of laundry in the wash machine. And then look, you've already got one thing checked off your list. And if you really want to do something, put something super easy on the list. If you need to go get gas, put that on the list. And that's how you start to add in more things. If you're like me and you really like to check things off, you really like to get things done. That's how you get things done. Don't put so much pressure on yourself because it's only going to cause you more stress. Something my boss, she doesn't really like me to call her my boss, the partner I work for. She's very similar to me. And something she started telling me to do is start listing my top 3 for the day. So top 3 action items that really want to get done for that day, and that's it. That's all I can do. After that, I'm done. Go to bed or log off. Logging off. That's what I really need to do. So I invite you all to use tip number 1 however it is you need. If you know you have a long list of items that need to get done at the home, do your top 3 for that day. Or if they're really small ones, okay, maybe a couple more in there. But just focus on the present moment and don't let your to-do list overwhelm you. Tip number 2, schedule everything. So I am currently reading a book called Indistractable. I can't remember who it's by, but we can figure that out and link it for y'all. But the book is called Indistractable, and it talks about the importance of scheduling things so you don't get distracted. I think if you're someone like me who gets overwhelmed by long lists and you have lots of things on your plate, this book is for you. I'm only 53 pages in, so I can't give a full review on it yet, but already it's changing my life. So, biggest tip I'm learning so far from that book is if you put everything you need to do in your modality of choice. My modality of choice is going to be my online calendar, my Apple calendar, because it's linked to my Outlook. And I live my life by my Outlook calendar at work. So if you schedule out your whole day, including your personal time, scheduling it in your day, then there's no reason for you to get stressed out because you have no room for getting distracted. Because what tends to happen is that when you have a lot going on and you're overwhelmed with work, personal, whatever, you will want to shut down. And then you might reach for your phone and you might start to scroll Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And then you've already lost what? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes go by, and you've done nothing on your list because you've been too busy watching videos of cute little puppies. So if you have everything in your calendar, including scroll time, if you're a scrolling girly, put the scroll time in your calendar. My 2 best friends, 2 of my best friends, part of the quad. I'm gonna talk about these quad girls a lot, so we're just gonna just call them the quad straight out the gate. They are TikTok girlies, and they love to watch videos. They send me TikToks all the time. I'll be honest with y'all, I don't open any of those videos because I know my choice of social media is Instagram. If I get on one more other thing, it's a wrap for me. I won't get any work done. So I don't review any of their TikToks, but they are on TikTok all the time. So something I tell them all the time is schedule it. If you have time, if you have a problem doing other things because you're so busy on TikTok, just schedule your TikTok time. I think for me, what I struggle with is like actually sitting down to schedule the time. So this, I think, is perfect for people who need permission to not start working right away. So before you even start working, right when you get to the office or right when you get to log on, schedule out, see what you have to do today, and then start inputting things into your calendar. Or you could do it the night before too. I know a lot of people like to do things the night before. I am not really one of those people, but what I also do is I start to plan out my personal time. Maybe it's my workouts or anything else. I do that on Sundays. So that already goes into my calendar from the beginning. And then from there, all I'm doing is just filling in throughout the rest. So I think if you can start to schedule everything in your calendar, literally from the moment you wake up to the time you go to bed, your time is accounted for. And by accounted for, I even would include like little flex times. That's what I used to do. I used to put in like, okay, from 5:30 to 6:30, like that sometime during that window, I'm gonna go home. I know it's only gonna take me about 20 minutes to get home, but during that time, like that's the time I'm gonna be traveling home. So whatever I'm doing during that time, like that's flex time. That for me, that's probably gonna mean just like hanging out with my dog. But I would go ahead and schedule everything you can just so you know exactly what you have time for, because when you look at your schedule, you will see that you have way more time than you think you do. And I feel like you will probably physically feel the difference. Like your shoulders may relax a little bit. You may relax your eyebrows. You might even relax your jaw. So schedule everything. Please, if you do try this exercise, let me know how this goes. Tip number 3, move your body. As the great Elle Woods once said, exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people just don't cheat their husbands. They just don't. This is also true about stress. We don't neglect movement. That's my rule above everything else. We do not neglect movement. Whenever whenever we get busy, that's the first thing people tend to let go of. This was true when I was in law school. My friends and I would work out, do things together, be active, and then once it got close to finals, that was the first thing people stop doing. And a lot of my law school classmates thought it was very interesting that I continued to go to the gym, go to yoga, do all this stuff. And I was like, no, like that's the one thing you can't stop because like that's the one thing that is like just for you, so good for you, putting back into your body. So don't neglect it. And I think we should also talk about just the concept of moving your body versus working out. So I'm calling this tip move your body because I also want you to feel like you have permission to not have to work out every day. So to me, working out and moving your body are two different things. To me, working out is like, I'm going to go do this intense workout. I'm going to go lift weights. I'm going to go run. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go sweat heavy. I was a basketball player back in my prime. So to me, a workout was like, if I'm not sweating hard, if I'm not running, if my knees don't hurt, I'm not working out. Now I try to just move my body and honor my body where she is at and do what feels good for her. And it's probably because I have found the yoga practice, I have evolved now. So I think that's really where it came from is that there's so many different types of yoga, asana, movement, the movement of yoga, that there's literally a different type for everyone. So, like, if you want to do a hardcore flow, then we got you. But if today you're not really feeling it, then we got that for you too. You can literally lay down for a whole hour and just like do 4 different laying down poses. Or if you need to really stretch out your body, we got that for you too. It's not going to feel good, or it might feel good for you, but we got that. Or if you're someone who really likes routine, you really like to do the same thing every single day, like my dad, he is a military man. We got that for you too. So I think that's where it comes from. But I like to tell people, and this is what I told my best friend when she was trying to get back into working out, is that change your mindset, call it moving your body. Because when you tell yourself you want to move your body every day, you're giving yourself permission that if you don't feel like it that day, then all you want to do is go on a 10-minute walk. You still moved your body. You still carved out that 10 minutes just for you, which is taking you away from the screen, the computer, whatever it is you're doing, your calls, your meeting. You're setting that time aside just for you. So move your body every day. Don't allow the work to take over because it's the job, like we need to do this for us. Like, you only get one body. You need to take care of it. So maybe you have your primary movement choices. Whatever that is for you, it could be your strength training. And we'll talk about that at some point too, because, working out, moving your body in your 20s is very different for women in their 30s and beyond. So we'll get into that. But do what feels good, essentially. Maybe that means going on a walk. Maybe it just means stretching, like, and not yoga, but I mean literally just like stretching for 30 minutes. That is still a workout. Dancing, that's totally fine. That's appropriate. Or if you're really stressed out, you only got 5 minutes. We're going to talk about this eventually too, but put on your favorite song because everyone has that one song that truly makes them happy. I will share mine. Mine is Stop by the Spice Girls. If you don't know it, please go listen. It will make you so happy. And just dance around. That's moving your body. 5 minutes. There you go. Or whatever else you choose, Pilates, yoga, come to yoga, come to my yoga, we'll have fun. We do R&B yoga or, cycling. That actually, I'm also a cycler in my day. I really enjoyed the cycling because it makes you don't have hands to do anything but put your hands on the bars because you're too scared to like move your hands anywhere else. So when you don't have access to your phone, it really makes you get out of your head. And I love that about cycling. And same thing with the yoga. You have to put your phone away. Like in our studio, we do not allow phones into the main studio. So for practice. So try something where you can't be near your phone. Like going on a walk is great, but like what do you do when you're on a walk? You listen to music. What do you listen to music on? Your phone. So what else happens? You probably get emails on your phone. Is that much of a break? I don't know. Tip number 4, take breaks. This one could also be called something fun. Maybe like don't neglect your hobbies. Make sure to step away from your work to recharge your batteries. Maybe I'll call it recharge your batteries because if you're not taking time for yourself, like we've already said, to recharge your batteries, if you are broken down, you won't be able to function properly to do the task. So do whatever it is that will make you happy. If you like to read, then read. If you are a crafty person, I am not. I hate crafts. But if you are a crafty person, do that. Play if you like to play basketball, shop. Personally, I know some people they don't like shopping as a way to to combat the effects of stress, but I do within reason. I used to honor a practice I called Treat Yourself Thursdays. I don't do that anymore. But back in the days, I did. And I think it's great. If you have something that you really look forward to, if you have a ritual, like you always go to basketball with your friends on Monday nights, keep doing it. Don't stop it just because you're in a busy season or just because you're stressed out. Granted, okay, if you're a lawyer and you have a closing or whatever, totally yeah, I get it. You have to abandon that for that one day. But make it up the next day. Ask your friends, "Hey, I have a closing today. Can we move this to tomorrow?" Hopefully everyone can move it. But same thing. If you really enjoy like Netflix, do Netflix on whatever night you like to do Netflix. We have a first year in my office who likes pottery, and she goes to a pottery class every Wednesday, and I love that for her. I don't have anything during the week right now. I'm working on it. I'm really into flower arranging, y'all, and I'm trying to go to a class, but I can't find a weekly class to go to. But if you don't have a lot of time to do any of this, I mean, a ritual I adopt, and I've been adopting this since I was in my first year of private practice, is I like to have a cookie or a sweet treat every day, 3 p.m., which is also why I move my body every day. But I have a cookie every day, 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And that is my break. And that's what makes me happy. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big cookie, it's a small cookie sometimes, but do something that makes you truly happy. And, cake and cookies make me truly happy. If you don't have a lot of time, that's fine. Uh, Remember, I live in the world of the point 1 hour. We bill our time in the law practice, so I've got all the tricks. If you only have a few moments to do something that will fill your cup, maybe you call a friend. Maybe you listen to your favorite happy song. I know you all have one. We've already talked about mine. Maybe you make out with your boo. I mean, that is a stress reliever. Let me tell you. Go bother your work bestie. She does not need to be working any more than you do. Go grab her, go take a walk, and get outside because I know you haven't been outside. And also, pro tip, make sure you have spare shoes in your office or in your cubicle, wherever you are, so you can go take these walks. And wrapping this up, but tip number 5, know your triggers. Know what triggers your stress so you can get ahead of it. So for me, I know exactly what items will cause me stress if I don't do them right away. Number 1, entering my time. Number 1, top of my list stressor. It gives me the Sunday scaries. It gives me heart palpitations. I don't understand why I get so stressed out about entering my time, but there it is. And what happens when I get stressed out? I get migraines. Like I've been getting migraines since I was 15. They run in my family. But I get migraines. I start to feel overwhelmed. And so what happens is that I know that this stuff triggers me and I know what causes my migraines. I need to drink water. I don't need to have chocolate, no MSG, all these sunlight also. And heat gives me migraines. So I try to get ahead of my triggers. So if I know I'm going to have a busy week, then honestly, I just try to enter all of my time in. If I didn't do it daily like I was supposed to, because, I tend to not do what I'm supposed to do every day, I do it, I enter all of my time in Sunday night so I don't get stressed out Monday morning. In the entering time case, I would say do as I say, not as I do. So enter your time daily, be a good biller if you bill your time, or the equivalent if you are in a different world. But I mean, I'm also a yoga teacher and I still have to enter my time there. You're supposed to do it daily every time you teach, and I'm doing a better job over there. But in summary, these are the 5 tips I have for you. So we'll continue to elaborate on these topics. And I'm just going to reiterate the 5 tips real quick. And then if you have any questions or would like me to delve deeper on anything, just please reach out. So, tip number 1, focus on the present moment. Tip number 2, schedule everything. Tip number 3, move your body. Tip number 4, take breaks. And tip number 5, know your triggers. So that's all I have for you today. If you found this helpful or would like to share this with anyone, you can follow me at legally_yogi on Instagram, or you can follow the podcast at Legal Yogi Podcast, or subscribe to our newsletter at legalyogipodcast.com so you never miss an episode. Thank you. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be strong, and may you be free. Namaste.
Thank you for joining us on the Legal Yogi Podcast. We hope today's episode brought you inspiration and insight. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter to stay updated on the latest episodes and exclusive content. If this message resonates with you, please share it with others who might benefit. Until next time, stay present, keep striving for balance, keep embracing mindfulness, and keep finding micro moments for yourself so that you can continue being the amazing legal yogi that you are.